The Texas Rangers say they will not conduct a criminal investigation into a controversial arrest by a couple of Galveston police officers. It happened earlier this month when two mounted patrol officers arrested Donald Neely for trespassing. They say there were no patrol units available to pick him up, so they tied a rope to his handcuffs and led him down the street. Galveston Police Chief Vernon Hale has said they followed proper protocol with the technique they used to arrest Neely, but showed poor judgment when they decided to walk him across downtown instead of waiting for a patrol unit to become available. After an initial inquiry, the Texas Rangers decided there is nothing that warrants a criminal investigation into the officers. But the Galveston County Sheriff's Office has been asked to look into whether the officers violated any department policies, and that investigation is still ongoing. Activists have been demanding the police department release the officers' body cam video to be transparent about how Neely was treated, or else they'll march and file a lawsuit. But the city says the video likely won't be released until all investigations are finished.